oligarchs of the world. It's also a sequel to... Just got gunfire. What's up, YouTube? Today, I want to talk about the many brutal on-screen car deaths in the movie Cars 2. Cars 2 is an international espionage thriller about a complex terrorist plot by the fossil fuel industry to discredit green energy and hoard all the power and wealth to the elite few oligarchs of the world. It's also a sequel to Cars, a movie about race cars.
Yes, it is.
As I mentioned, in this movie there are many brutal car deaths featured on screen. But in today's video, I want to go through and explain who these cars were. These were living, breathing cars with their own interior lives and families. They had names, Wikipedia pages, and most importantly, toys dedicated to them. So I'm going to go through every single death in the movie Cars 2, and hopefully, by the end, uncover who the real villain actually is. Now, let's drive in. This movie opens up with the British spy car Leland Turbo recording an urgent message saying that he's uncovered something big. Later that night, British super spy car Finn McMissile, played by the greatest actor of all time, Michael Caine, takes a boat out to the coordinates that Leland sent him and discovers a secret massive oil rig in the middle of the ocean. Finn sneaks on and discovers the evil German scientist, Professor Zundap, where a couple of his goons tell him that they captured a spy, and, oh my god! They killed Leland Turbo! Now he's just a little cube of garbage. Leland's biography reads, he and Finn McMissile go way back together in the world of espionage, and they even trained together in the academy as new recruits. They were partners early in their careers and owe each other their lives, getting one another out of tough spots many times. Leland also has multiple toys. The German scientist sees Finn spying on them and orders his goons to kill him. Finn doesn't waste any time and instantly starts raining fire on the cars below him with 2 automatic machine guns. Got gunfire. Finn makes a quick escape, but he's chased by one of the henchmen, Keith Gremlin. Thinking fast, Finn releases oil, which Keith slips on and falls hundreds of feet into the ocean, breaking into many pieces and dying immediately upon impact. Not much is known about Keith Gremlin, other than the fact that he is a member of the Gremlin family, and of course, has a toy. Finn is then chased by Don Crumlin and a number of other henchman cars up a spiral car ramp. So Finn shoots a group of oil barrels free, attaches a bomb to one, and then detonates that bomb, killing Don Crumlin and dozens of other cars in the process. There were at least 15 cars on that ramp at the time of detonation, possibly many more. Don Crumlin was named after the legendary Disney animator Don Crumb. He appears in the Cars 2 video game, and of course, has multiple toys.
No way!
Finally, the henchmen have Finn McMissile trapped on a helipad, so he dives off and transforms into a submarine, faking his own death and escaping the oil rig, leaving a path of absolute death and destruction in his wake. This movie's rated G, by the way. Back in Radiator Springs, we learned that Lightning McQueen's mentor, Doc Hudson, has passed away sometime between the events of the first movie and this film. And while it's not explicitly shown on screen, I think this still counts.
How is it even possible?
In an extremely expository info dump, we are introduced to Sir Miles Axelrod, a billionaire oil tycoon who has recently converted himself into an electric car and is promoting his new eco-friendly fuel, all in all, in his upcoming World Grand Prix, which Lightning McQueen agrees to join after being taunted by the Formula One race car, Francesco Bernoulli.
Ah, you heard it! Lightning McQueen prefers to be slow!
So, Lightning and Mater head to Tokyo for the first race, where Mater embarrasses Lightning by leaking oil on stage in front of everyone. Mater goes to the bathroom to clean himself up, and while he's in there, the American spy car Rod Redline is getting roughed up by 2 of Zundap's goons. After being sexually assaulted by the Japanese toilets, Mater exits the stall and makes an Ace Ventura reference.
I would not
Go in there!
Rod Redline slips a device onto Mater's undercarriage, and then Mater leaves the bathroom and instantly rips a fat one in this lady car's face.
That
Back at Professor Z's evil lair, the goons torture Rod Redline to find out
He's
who
gonna
he gave his
explode
information
his engine
to.
and
They reveal that the cars
overheat,
using Alanol fuel can be exploded with the use of their EMP emitting camera and demonstrate this on Rod.
And explode.
Rod Torque Redline was considered by many the greatest American spy in the world. Recruited after the Cold War for both his brains and brawn, Torque is a tough-as-nails Detroit muscle car with a mastery of disguises. He will be greatly missed. He also has multiple toys. We finally get to see a race in this movie about race cars, and Lightning McQueen is winning, but then the Gremlins use their EMP camera to take out 3 racers, all of whose engines explode, but they are not killed. The goons are closing in on Mater, so Finn McMissile hops into action to protect him. The Gremlins have Finn trapped, so he leaps into the air, causing Acer and Tauga Gremlin to crash into each other and explode. And while Acer lands in a pair of giant neon chopsticks, Tauga Gremlin sadly perished. Tauga Gremlin was a member of the Gremlin family and was named after Tolga Gotkin, who did the visual effects for Cars 2. He also has a toy. Then McMissile then throws Fred Pacer into an elevator shaft and shoots the cord, launching him up and crushing him immediately. Fred Pacer's bio reads, Fred misses his early days growing up in Kenosha. Back then, he didn't have to worry about being the toughest lemon on the block, or where he would get his spare parts. All he had to think about was kicking back and relaxing with fellow Pacers and Gremlins. As time went on, the factory parts dried up in his hometown, and Fred had to look for new adventures in faraway places. That led him to sign up for work on a mysterious oil rig in the deep Pacific. As long as the pay is steady and the parts don't dry up, Fred Pacer is not complaining. He also has a toy. Another car charges at Finn McMissile and he jumps out of the way, dodging him, and shoots the elevator cord again, crushing this car and instantly killing him. Sadly, not much is known about this dark red car that Finn McMissile just coldly murdered. But the Pixar Cars fan and wiki refers to him as Rick Trunkoff, and they go over his tragic backstory in great detail. Also, there are no toys of Rick Trunkoff. Lightning McQueen loses the race thanks to Mater distracting him over the radio. Ashamed of causing Lightning to lose, Mater decides to fly home, where he is intercepted by British intelligence, Finn McMissile, and they escape on his super spy jet, Sidley. Aboard Sidley, Finn thinks that Mater is a secret agent, so he takes him with them to Paris, where we are subjected to one of the most horrifying scenes in Pixar canon, in which Mater comes across a car that has headlights for eyes. Her name is Celine DeFair, and she is one of the biggest mysteries in the Cars universe, showing an empty body and throwing everything we know about car anatomy and society into utter chaos. Also, she has a Kmart exclusive toy. While in Paris, they learn that these lemons are having a big meetup in Italy where the next race is being held, so they fly to Italy to infiltrate the meeting. Mater disguises himself to sneak in and learns of their evil plan to make the world afraid of alternative fuels like Alanol, as they are the owners of the largest untapped oil reserve in the world. Finn McMissile tries to stop them but is captured by an electromagnet-wielding helicopter. The lemons use their EMP camera to blow up several more racers and cause a massive car pileup on the racetrack. Lightning McQueen wins the race, but his celebration is cut short as he learns of what happened to the other racers. This makes Lightning target number 1 for the lemons, causing Mater to accidentally blow his disguise, so Mater rains hellfire upon the lemons with his dual-wielding Gatling guns. It is unclear how many cars Mater murdered in his unknowing rampage. Mater tries to warn Lightning that the lemons are after him, but he is swiftly kidnapped and knocked out with poison gas, where he has a crazy drug-induced hallucination and experiences what psychologists would call ego death. He wakes up inside of the clock tower where the villains have set up a convoluted trap to kill our heroes inside the gears of the clock. Mater is able to free himself, and Finn McMissile tells him to go save Lightning McQueen. Mater learns that a bomb has been planted on him, so he drives backwards to avoid exploding and killing his best friend, Lightning McQueen.
I'm the bomb! Yes, Mater, you are the bomb!
Mater accidentally accidentally activates jet rockets and blasts off with lightning in tow.
What is happening? This is a bad dream!
The professor tries to escape, so Finn McMissile captures him, but the massive combat ship Tony Trihole stops them with a giant electromagnet. So Finn McMissile releases all of his mini-bombs, thus obliterating Tony Trihole. Not much is known about Tony's past, but many fans were saddened by his passing, thanks to his many abilities and his larger-than-life presence. He also had a very large playset. Meanwhile, Mater is still zooming down the street with a bomb attached to his hood, and two goons, Acer and Grimm, race towards him. Holly intercepts them, launching them into a nearby pub, where they are beaten senseless by every able-bodied patron in the bar. But seriously, they are never seen again, and are presumed dead after this scene. Acer and Grimm were two of the top henchmen in the Lemon organization. They were best friends and partners in crime. Grimm's official bio reads, Grimm is a dented, rusty orange AMC gremlin. After years of being dismissed for his design, even being called a lemon, Grimm has a big chip on his fender that has led him to the underworld of international espionage. Grimm and Acer will be sorely missed. They also appear in multiple video games and have multiple toys each. Lightning and Mater are surrounded by dozens of lemons, and they learn that the bomb attached to Mater's hood can only be deactivated by the voice of whoever installed it. Mater and Lightning Sprints show up to beat up the lemons, but I don't think anyone is fatally wounded in this scene.
No
Mater thinks he
way.
knows who's behind all this, so he and Lightning fly to Buckingham Palace, where he nearly causes an international incident by bringing an active bomb to the Queen of England, and he accuses Miles Axelrod of being behind the whole thing. You see, Miles made All in All purposely dangerous to cause everyone to be afraid of green energy and more reliant on fossil fuels for power, as he is the one who owns the largest oil refinery in the world.
What if he came up with All in All just to make alternative fuel look bad? What?
Mater was right, and Axelrod deactivates the bomb. The day is saved.
Have a nice day, Sir Axelrod.
Mater is officially knighted by the Queen of England, and then they head back to good old Radiator Springs, where they host the first ever Radiator Springs Grand Prix to finally figure out who the fastest race car really is. Holly Shiftwell flies down and announces herself as Mater's girlfriend. Finally, Mater activates his thrusters, zooming past every race car, and although we don't see the end of the race, I think we can assume that Mater would win, since he has literal jet engines attached to his body. In the end, Sidley winks at the camera, and the movie is over. Sidley now in stores. So, in the end, who was the real villain of Cars 2? Well, let's look at the numbers alone. Miles Axelrod and the Lemons murdered 2 spy cars, Leland Turbo and Rod Redline. Meanwhile, Finn McMissile single-handedly murdered Keith Gremlin, Don Crumlin, Tauga Gremlin, Fred Pacer, Rick Trunkoff, Tony Trihole, and dozens of other innocent cars on the oil rig. Don't get me wrong, Miles Axelrod is most certainly a horrible villain. He is an ultra-rich oil baron who purposely discredited green energy, thus setting the Cars universe back generations and dooming the environment in a short-sighted bid to make himself richer and more powerful. However, if you look at this movie from the point of view of any of the Lemons, you are met with a very different story. These are cars that have been left behind by car society. Their parts are no longer manufactured, thus leading them to black markets and illegal activities, just to get the spare parts they need to survive. Without any sort of nationalized car healthcare or car social safety net, Miles was able to easily enlist and take advantage of these neglected cars that have been relegated to the fringes of car society, even promising them a piece of his massive fortune from the oil rigs they work on. So, the question we're left with is why? Why was Finn McMissile so brutal towards the Lemons? He could have jumped off the oil rig and turned into a boat as soon as he was discovered, but instead he decided to stay and kill as many as he possibly could before he was trapped and ultimately forced to flee. I believe that when Finn saw the destroyed body of his former partner, Leland Turbo, something broke deep within him. Leland was his oldest friend. They grew up together. They went to the academy together. They were partners in their careers as spies, best friends, and possibly even lovers. So when Finn saw that the Lemons had destroyed his best friend, all of his spy training and ethics went out the car window, and he went on an insane homicidal murder spree. He became Baba Yaga, the boogeyman of the Cars universe. He was like Batman, only Batman doesn't use guns or kill people. Finn McMissile does. Finn McMissile was never seen again after Cars 2 in any of the subsequent movies or TV series, but I believe he's still out there, lurking in the shadows, never resting until every lemon is killed and he has his vengeance. But no matter how many lemons he kills, it will never be enough. It will never bring back his best friend. Or maybe he's just a silly James Bond car.
Look at that. That's a 1966 Aston Martin, pale blue. Now that's the coolest car.
That's about all I've got for today. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Let me know what you think of Cars 2 in the comments below. And as always, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye. You have to like and subscribe this. Bye. Chippy Doopy. Please like, subscribe, and share. Or please subscribe, share. Please. Bye bye.
Congrats on next 5 days.
Thanks.
Conference with a string of injuries.